Welcome to this One Stop for Growth webinar with specific emphasis on the Brownfields Redevelopment Fund. My name is David Bancroft, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Community Investment at Mass Development. I am also the Commonwealth's Brownfield State Coordinator. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with some important information you may need with regards to eligibility and program basics as we undertake the FY26 round of Brownfield's Redevelopment Fund through the One Stop. The first two slides provide you a background of the community for One Stop for Growth, its goals and programs that fall within it, and its important funding mechanism for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is a collaboration between the Executive Office of Economic Development, Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and Mass Development. This collaborative effort is to provide a coordinated review of the impact these important programs can make the residents of Massachusetts. The Brownfields Redevelopment Fund is one of those programs that falls into the overall initiative. The purpose of the Brownfields Fund is to provide financial assistance, in this case, specifically to the municipalities of the Commonwealth, to test and clean up publicly owned parcels that have a perceived or known environmental issue that needs to be addressed before the site can be successfully redeveloped and returned to productive reuse that benefits the neighborhood it's located in and the wider community and region. This may require funds to conduct an environmental site assessment to determine the contamination issues in the soil or groundwater, or funds to actively remove and properly dispose of these types of contaminations. The ultimate goal is to allow for the redevelopment of the site into an end use that results in expanding housing opportunities or the creation of space for jobs and economic growth. By returning these sites to productive reuse, the community benefits with the return of the property to the local tax rolls. This particular webinar is geared specifically to municipalities, the development agencies, or authorities. Bottom, you will see that my contact is available, David J. Bancroft, Senior Vice President, Community Investment, and my email, dbancroft@massdevelopment.com. Within the One Stop for Growth application portal, you will find the site. The program is found under the site preparation category, and then you would find Brownfield site cleanup, and you would either pick Brownfield site assessment or Brownfield's remediation. Some project parameters. Program parameters are $100,000 for site assessment assistance and up to $250,000 for site remediation assistance. Site assessment or remediation activities can be completed within a 1-year time frame from the date of the award. Funds may be used for services provided by a private licensed site professional within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or a contractor for the sampling, testing, analysis, and reporting of soil and groundwater conditions. Funds may also be used for the excavation, hauling, and disposal of contaminated soils from a site to an approved receiving facility. The program cannot fund. Brownfields Redevelopment Fund is not available for building demolition under this program. Project sites that are intended for reuse as a municipal or public building or space. We cannot fund the development of new spaces for town halls, schools, public works, police, or fire. Funds may not be used for geotechnical surveys or evaluations. Fund is only available for actual soil and water contamination issues. And the applicant, or in this case, the city or town, cannot be the primarily responsible party for the contamination. Information that you should be aware of that the program reviewers take into consideration when doing and reviewing these projects. Site control. Does the city or town own the property, and do you have the legal right to enter the property, conduct the either assessment or remediation work? Scope of work. Is the proposed scope of work that you are asking for the funding for been provided by a licensed site professional or a licensed general contractor who will do the actual remediation? And is their scope reasonably expected to be completed within 12 months of the award? The budget. Is the funds you're requesting enough and sufficient to cover the proposed work that the scopes are being priced out at? Other questions you should consider when filling out the application. Is the site that you were selected and applying for specific or a priority to advance the municipality's stated economic and community development or housing goals? Is the site, future use of the site, going to provide job creation opportunities, the establishment of retail or commercial spaces? Has the site been prioritized by the community for other benefits that the community may be able to offer besides the Brownfields Redevelopment Fund? These are important questions that need to be addressed and need to be stipulated in the application to make the story and the reason why this site has been selected more competitive. Things that must be attached to the application include an updated scope of services and budget from your LSP or your contractor for the work to be performed and supporting the application's ask for financial assistance. And your proof of ownership. We need to know that you own the site, so a deed and a tax assessor's card, along with the current value of the property in this fiscal year or the latest fiscal year, is important. Some examples of successful projects that we have done in the last round. The City of Lynn, 100 Willow Street, 57 to 61 Liberty Street, was an 8-acre parcel of municipally owned parcel downtown. Given historical prior use, the site was believed to have potential environmental issues. What made this successful was the fact that in 2024, they knew that they had this potential environmental issue. It was a priority site for the city to get redeveloped. They came in and they asked for $100,000 in site assessment in order to determine the environmental issues on site. Those results were found. It was determined the site was impacted with various environmental issues, including underground storage tanks, lead, and other contaminants within the soil that needed to be removed in order to redevelop the site. The logical next step for them was in FY25 to apply for a remediation award, and they were successful in receiving about $233,000. The site is now being remediated and eventually will be able to go back, and the city will then be able to RFP it for future development and return it to its proper place on the city's tax roll. Another successful project was the town of Somerset. Now, this was a project at 328 County Street, about a half-acre parcel that the town did acquire via tax title. It's a former gas station and auto services business on a main commercial street in between commercial and a residential area. Funds were used for remediation of contamination issues and to restore the site back to a useful life. This was also an important project for the town of Somerset, an example of a project that can be turned around even though it has only been recently acquired. So the site does not have to necessarily be a long-standing municipally owned site. It can be something that was recently acquired, but it should be a priority for the community. Next up is sort of the timeframe for this year's FY26 round. We are now open for the expressions of interest. Those will run through the January through April. Full application submissions period will be from May to June, and review periods will be from July to September, with notifications of grant decisions and awards most likely in October of this year. If there are any other questions in the meantime, we will also be having office hours on to answer any questions that you may have regarding this program within the One Stop. These are opportunities for more information. You know, the expression of interest, as I said, is open. You can apply through that and get some feedback as to whether your project, as you propose, is eligible for the Brownfields for Redevelopment Fund. We will have One Stop and program webinars, which we're looking at now, and we'll also have the office hours. Currently, the Brownfields Redevelopment Fund office hours will be held on April 9th at about 12 p.m. My advice would be to make sure you stay informed with the One Stop for Growth website to make sure that those dates and times are still in place. I thank you for listening to this. If you have any questions regarding the Brownfields Redevelopment Fund, you should feel free to email me at dbancroft@massdevelopment.com. And I look forward to answering any of the questions that you may have and look forward to your ability to submit an application for this fund. Thanks very much. Have a great day.